Pluto will be transiting through Sravana Nakshatra between now and March 2029. This is a powerful and profound transit, and that's the subject of today's video. But before we get into things, I wanted to let you know there's a special opportunity for you to know about the impact of Pluto's transit through Sravana on your own personal horoscope through my new consultation made specifically for that, which you can schedule at the link above. So let's get down to business. So what is Pluto all about? You know, in Vedic astrology, we don't really talk too much about the outer planets. They're kind of interesting to check out time and again, you know, just to see some of the energies that they're bringing into existence. In short, quite often the nodes, which we work with very deeply in Vedic astrology, tend to bring a lot of those same energies into the horoscope. But it's still well worthwhile exploring these planets, most especially Pluto, because Pluto will take us into those deep, dark areas and show us as, you know, the collective, you know, humanity, those areas where we are the most vulnerable and that we need to take a deeper look at. And of course, it's going to impact each person on the personal level, dependent upon where Pluto is transiting. Pluto takes around 15 years to transit completely through a sign. You know, through a lunar mansion, it's roughly about half of that cycle, maybe just a little bit less. And so this is a really long-term transit for you to get serious about a specific area of life as per Sravana Nakshatra, which we're going to talk a little bit today, and for us as a collective to do the same. So let's talk about the collective first, but we need to understand Sravana Nakshatra, and we need to understand Pluto. I know some of you are very good friends with Pluto, and you better be, because if you make enemies with it, it only makes it harder for you. So Pluto takes us into very deep places. A lot of times people consider Pluto to be very dark, but Pluto's purpose is to confront us with our vulnerabilities. It shows us the weaknesses that are there, those areas that we are not paying attention to. A good way to understand it, perhaps, is by explaining that it shows us the shadow work that we need to do, what we need to go into in order to strengthen ourselves and not be so weak in one particular area of life or another. And so the very first part of that process when Pluto does it, because it's making us take an uncomfortable look at ourselves, if you're not aware of what's actually happening at this particular point, it's very easy to become resistant to the process, right? So, you know, for instance, if Pluto's transiting the ascendant, you might find yourself in a position taking a look at, well, you know, those dark areas of who you are as an individual, those things about yourself that you're not quite so happy about. And so then you might get defensive at first when those things are brought to your attention from other people in your life or just by the circumstances that are taking place. And so sometimes we resist at first. But the really wonderful thing about Pluto is when you cooperate, what it does for you. Okay? So when you cooperate with Pluto's energy and you go along willingly for the journey, Pluto then gives you so much personal power, so much strength with which to move forward and to grow and to very firmly close the door on the past. I don't have any sound effects, so sometimes I have to take the cheaper route and just create them with my mouth. So, ka-chung, you know, we have to shut the door on the past. So Pluto allows us to very deeply do that because it will have taken us very strongly through all of those areas we may not want to confront and force us to confront those things. Pluto quite literally will take you into an experience and it'll shake you and won't let go until you get the lesson. But when you get the lesson, that's the really powerful thing. So let's talk a little bit about Sravana Nakshatra. Sravana is the star of listening, and it's symbolized by an ear. And we can focus on the more mundane levels of that, such as, oh, well, people, might talk about someone, or you might hear things about other people, or, anything other that is connected with the concept of listening. But let's analyze this from a little bit more of a spiritual perspective as well and try to understand that. Quite often, we only see things or understand things at a surface level. And sometimes we don't feel like we have time to go into things more deeply and to understand them more deeply. So we're quite often happy to take things at face value and go, oh, well, this must just simply be the way that it is, without really taking a deeper look. So we identify something or someone in terms of form without really taking a little bit of a closer look. So Shravana Nakshatra always asks us to get beneath the surface as well, much in the same level as Pluto. It wants us to go deeper so that we're able to really see the essence of what it is that we're actually dealing with. And along the way, again, that can be a very uncomfortable process as well, because we get into a space with Shravana of thinking that we have something figured out. And when we find out that we don't really have it sussed out as clearly as we might like to think that we do, it will generally make the mind a little bit nervous, because Shravana is what's called Achara and Achala nakshatra. It's moving and it's unsteady. And so it'll make the mind a little bit nervous. And because Shravana is a sattvic planet, it will make us at first think that we see something in totality as it is. And then we'll see a flaw in our idea, which is the tamasic quality of it. Tamasic means darkness. So we hit an obstacle with that, and then that obstacle makes us a little bit nervous so that we seek deeper layers of the actual energy that we're dealing with until we once again reach a sattvic process, hit another tamasic process, hit another rajasic process, keep continuing to peel away at layers of something. Now, as a collective, this particular transit, we're already beginning to see a lot of things that are related to this, much along the lines of what we're experiencing with media, which is number one, you can't always believe the hype. And we never could really believe the hype, but we kind of placed ourselves in a position of letting ourselves believe the hype until hype was dumped upon us and we were duped until we recognized that we believed the hype. Now, this happens in various different areas of life. And, as people who want to know what's going on in the world, quite often we think we can rely on media to tell us those things. But in actuality, all that we're really getting in those circumstances is a story. And quite often, a story that is made to sell newspapers, sell advertising, or sell media. And so, quite often, it's very much sensationalized. And Pluto and Shravana is already beginning to bring lessons in relation to that to the surface for us to examine, so that we can understand that we always need to be willing to take a deeper look, to not always look at things on the surface and accept it at face value, but instead to go a lot deeper. On the personal front, you're likely going to find this particular transit makes you take a deep look at one area of your life or another, or perhaps several different areas. It will definitely impact the house that Pluto's transiting. So if this is, for instance, in your seventh house, it will make you take a look at a relationship, understand the essence of what that relationship means in your life. Does that relationship still hold a space in your life or not? If it's related to, perhaps your sixth house or your 10th house, those are both work related areas. So it may make you take a deeper look at your career, your concepts of success, how you identify success, and ask you to take a look at, going about that in a completely different way. And it will do the same with any planets that it's going to be transiting in your horoscope as well. So this is a very profound period of time. It's going to last about 6 years, but coming out the other side of it, even more so than other Pluto transits, because you're likely familiar with Pluto as a planet that causes you to take a deeper look at the truth of something. Well, that's even more the case with Sravana Nakshatra. Pluto can be really powerful in this particular nakshatra. So don't resist the process. Go into it willingly, be willing to take a look, be willing to do the work that's necessary in the areas of life that Pluto is actually impacting for you, and you'll benefit so deeply from this particular transit, which once again lasts until March of 2029. And if you'd like to know a little bit more about how this impacts you personally, again, I have a new special consultation that's set up specifically for that. And you can go and schedule in with me at the link that you see above for that. That's going to do it for this look at Pluto's transit through Sravana Nakshatra. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.